Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are viewing today's pre-recorded on-demand webinar. Folks, my name is Jim Marini and will proudly be your host here today, talking about private sleeper rail vacations, in particular in Europe, as well as maybe even a fun little exciting destination outside of Europe at the end. So hope you can join me all the way through. So with that in mind, let's get started. Now, lots to cover. We're going to do this all in about 20 to 25 minutes, okay? Our top recommendations for the most iconic once-in-a-lifetime experience. And we're going to talk about those here today. The different accommodations offered on board each of these luxury rail journeys. Also, how Railbookers is providing a single source for all components of your vacation. And of course, all the advantages and benefits to traveling by train versus plane. Now, for those of you who may not be as familiar with Railbookers, we are part of the Railbookers group brands. And folks, if you're looking at your screen right now, the large picture, well, that's going to be all the exciting slides. You can see me in the top left-hand corner. Hello, everyone. That's me in video. Also, a little more information about myself. Also, some helpful handouts in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So please be sure to download or certainly view any of those before the end of today's presentation. Now, as far as the brands that we operate under Railbookers Group brands, well, I'm sure you're familiar with the name on the left-hand side. Yes, our sister brand is Amtrak Vacations. They are the official tour operator in the United States for Amtrak. So what does that mean? They can book anything from rail, hotels, sites, meals, activities, even car rentals in the United States. And they have packages that range from 3, 4, 5-day, weekend, week-long getaways to 1 and 2 weeks long across the country, especially out to some of those beautiful national parks. Now, today it is about Railbookers, and that's the brochure you see on the right-hand side of your screen in the large picture. This is all of our Canadian, our European, our worldwide rail vacations, and even vacations, believe it or not, up in Alaska. If you look at the QR code in the top right-hand corner of the large picture, be sure, folks, to scan that in so you can sign up for our newsletter today. And speaking of today, with our sister brand, did you know you can actually travel literally from today, whenever you are viewing today's pre-recorded on-demand webinar, right here in the lower 48 in the continental USA. So if any of you want to get out of your house, maybe visit family and friends in other parts of the country, maybe you have a special anniversary or birthday coming up, or maybe you had it last year and you weren't able to celebrate it for whatever reason, well, you could head out literally within days, weeks, months with our sister brand. Now, here's the other part. You could plan your trip today or in the next few months to travel all the way until 2024. Yes. So if you want to have something to look forward to in the future, we got you covered, whether it's a last-minute vacation or a trip in the near future. How are we able to do this? Well, folks, I'm proud to say we have direct rail partnerships with many of these iconic trains that you see right here on your screen. Not only some of the local trains, not only some of the iconic trains, the high-speed trains, but also the luxury trains, which happens to be many of the private sleeper trains that I'm going to be talking about here today. Now, there's so many reasons why travelers love Railbookers. Just to give you a handful of them, if you look at the top left-hand corner from left to right, when you plan your trip or your local travel advisor plans your trip for you, they are speaking to one of our rail experts on the phone who knows the best rail, the best train times, the best routes. Also, any of you might be looking to go or maybe already planning to go on one of those fantastic river cruises or ocean cruises. Why not extend your trip? Why not see more of Europe as an example while you're in Europe? Also, hotel choices, and you'll see and learn more about this today, but you could actually stay at a 3, 4, or 5-star hotel on the same trip, folks. You can mix and match if you choose. Also, as I mentioned, you could book up to 2 years in advance. So whether it's traveling in the next few months or in the next 2 years, you can plan your trip all the way until 2024. Here's the other nice part. You don't have to worry about piecing it all together. That's what Railbookers comes in. We do it all right? And guess what? When you book through your local travel advisor, not only are they able to put any of these trips together, they can even book flights for you as well. They truly are a one-stop shop and the best in the business. Now, what we'll also talk about today is independent travel. All of our trips are independent FIT, which stands for flexible independent travel. So you'll have certain days you have locally guided tours, either for a half a day or a full day. But then guess what, folks? Other days you may have free time at leisure, maybe to go get a little cappuccino or a little coffee outside one of those beautiful cafes, whether it's in Italy or any other destination. And the choice is yours. Any trip can be personalized and customized just the way you would like. Pretty much wherever the trains go, we can take you there. Now, speaking of wherever the trains go, our staff is located all over the world, not only here in the United States, in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts, and Beverly, but also Southern California and so many other great states in between, as well as Canada, down under in Australia, and across the pond in London. Now, what does Railbookers offer? Here's the beauty. Don't let the name fool you. Railbookers, we do way more than just rail. So what do we offer? We do everything from confirmed seat reservations on board the trains, as well as different types of trains that you could travel on, sightseeing activities, tours, whether, again, it's half a day or a full day. We do offer 3, 4, or 5-star hotels. Again, you get to choose which ones you'd like to be at on the same trip if you choose. Also, ferries, transfers, excursions, and of course, the title of today, overnight rail journeys. Now, I talked about this a minute ago, but when you travel on independent style vacations, which is all of our trips, all right, not only with Railbookers, but also our sister brand Amtrak Vacations, you get to personalize and customize any trip, which means there's lots of options available. So if any of you want to add on a destination, you can certainly do that. If you want to take a trip round trip in and out of the same city, whether it's in Europe or any other great area around the world, you can do that. You can book a trip in reverse. So if you see a trip you like, folks, but let's say it starts in London and it ends in Paris, well, you could start in Paris and end in London, as an example. You could also upgrade to first class or even business class if you choose. You can even add sightseeing tours or private tours. And yes, choose between 3, 4, and 5-star hotels on the same trip. Now, before we move into the trips that are trending right now that are so popular for private sleepers, take a look at this map, folks, for a minute. All right. You see all those colorful lines? Well, those represent all the different trains in Europe. And here's what I always say. None of those trains actually talk to each other. Many of them are in, of course, as you can see, different countries. They have different policies, different procedures, and in some cases, different currencies. When you book with Railbookers or your travel advisor books with Railbookers, we package everything together for you. We make it easy traveling throughout Europe. And I'll give you a little fun trivia. You know there's over 26,000 train stations just in Europe? And last year alone, there was over 1 billion people that traveled on board the trains in Europe. 1 billion with a B. It is the way Europeans travel. So why not experience the same way? Now, before we move in, one other point I want to mention. What makes a luxury rail journey different? Well, first off, it's an iconic, historic, and often incredibly scenic route. Impeccable service on board. And we're going to talk about the different types of accommodations and meals that are offered, world-class cuisine, all right, a variety of onboard sleeping accommodations, and also private excursions. So to kick off, we're going to talk about Belmont Royal Scotsman, otherwise known as our Highland Journey, starting in the great city of London. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with Railbookers, we can book most of everything, not only the trains, not only the different type of accommodations on board the trains, but also 3, 4, 5-star, 3, 4, 5 diamond hotels, sightseeing tours, meals, activities. The only thing we do not book are flights. But again, that's even more of a reason to book any of these exciting packages or any others that I'm highlighting here today that involve overnight sleepers through your local travel advisor. Here we have a picture of Big Ben. London is such an awesome city. One of my personal favorite cities in all of Europe. Great nightlife, great cuisine, great shopping. You won't go wrong. Now, from London, you travel north. Now, the way you travel north is typically on the train known as the Caledonian Sleeper, and that's a great train that will bring you north up into Scotland. Well, then you arrive at Edinburgh, or Edinburgh, however you pronounce this particular city. It is such an awesome city and so much to see in Scotland. But the real treat is boarding on the Royal Scotsman, as you can see right here. And we're going to talk about this right now. Did you know when you board on the Royal Scotsman, all of your meals are included? And I should mention, all of your beverages. It's almost as if you are on board an all-inclusive vacation from the time you board the train until the time you disembark the train. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner all included, not to mention some of the most finest cuisine throughout all of Scotland right here on the train. Now, while on board, you get to choose. So if any of you are single or solo travelers, welcome aboard. They have single rooms available. They also have twin cabins. Now, here's the nice part of this train as well, folks. I'm going to give you two exciting points. It only fits up to 40 passengers. Yes, 40. That's it. It's a small, quaint type of experience as you travel from one exciting destination to another. So you never have to worry about driving on the other side of the road or being on a motor coach bus with 44 other people, a little more confined. On board the train, you can get up, relax, stretch your legs. Obviously, you have your own private accommodations. And do you know it's one of the only trains in the world, that actually stops in the evening for you to have a good night's rest before it continues on the next day. As you know, most trains typically travel throughout the night, not on board the Belmont Royal Scotsman. Now, what you're looking at here is the lounge car. Very popular location, certainly before or after dinner. The Belmont Royal Scotsman is what I refer to as modern luxury. All right, it has that charm to it, just great service, great cocktails on board. So if any of you want any adult beverages, certainly you are more than welcome to do that. But remember, again, all meals and beverages are included. This trip itself, 8 days, 7 nights, and all the pricing that you see in today's presentation is based in double occupancy. But again, we do have single rates available as well. And if you look at the map on the right-hand side, this will serve as a good example to the other trips that we're also going to talk about that include overnight private sleepers. The dotted lines, of course, represent the trains. The number 1 that you see, or the number 2 in a round circle, just tells you how many nights that you're in each of these great cities. And again, any trip can be customized or personalized just the way you would like. Let's move on to one of my personal favorite overnight sleeping trains, and that is the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. Now, this is a real treat, this particular trip, because not only does it include some of the most beautiful parts of Italy, but it also includes Switzerland and England as well. Yes, this tour also starts in the great city of London, where you have the Tower Bridge and so many other iconic sites. And before you know it, it's over into Venice. Not too often we see cities around the world where there are no cars, there are no trucks, there are no motorcycles. Rather, it's canals, it's gondolas, it's little cruises. And yes, it does include Switzerland. Here we have St. Moritz, what I refer to as the rich and famous, the Beverly Hills of Switzerland. Absolutely beautiful. It also includes Zermatt and that large mountain that you can see right there in the distance. Yes, that is the Matterhorn, one of the most iconic areas in all of Switzerland. This trip itself, 10 days, 9 nights. And as you can see, again, not only is it London, it actually connects through to Paris before going into Switzerland and Italy. Now, there's different variations, different versions. So depending on how many days you're looking to travel or what your price point is, we have some packages that include multiple countries or packages that are just more getaway trips. This one is from Venice all the way to London. Now, let me talk about meals on board. Similar to the Belmont Royal Scotsman, all your meals are included. Now, beverages on board the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express would be at an additional cost outside of course, coffee, tea, soda, all right? But any alcoholic beverages, you would settle that at the end of your train excursion before disembarking, almost as if you're on a cruise. Did you know there's 3 restaurants on board the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, and you get to choose where you would like to dine for lunch and dinner every day while on board the train. Now, breakfast is served to you inside of your cabins, and here is an example of what a cabin suite looks like, served right to you, right in the privacy of your own room. How cool is that? By the way, this train fits up to 174 passengers, so you can see it's certainly much larger than the Belmont Royal Scotsman. Now, what you're looking at here, folks, this is one of only a handful of suites. Now, these are on request. These are on a request basis, but look at this. Here's my question to all of you. Have any of you ever traveled on board a Rocky Mountaineer? Have any of you traveled on board any of those iconic river cruises? or even some of those premium ocean cruise lines? Do any of you have a special birthday or anniversary coming up? I think it's safe to say your spouse would absolutely enjoy being in this type of room, this type of suite. So if this is of interest, make sure to reach out to us or your travel advisor today. And yes, also includes the great city of London. 6 days, 5 nights. Again, lots to see right here in one particular package. Now, before we finish up in Europe and before I move over to my last exciting destination today, how about Amsterdam and Vienna via sleeper train? Yes. Now, Amsterdam is one of those fun cities. Lots of nightlife, great restaurants, cafes, of course, the canal, the waterfront area, just absolutely amazing. And Vienna, for me personally, is probably one of the most spectacular, cleanest, beautiful cities I've ever seen in the world. And it's right here in Austria. So how cool is that? Two great countries with a sleeper train included in the middle. And here's the nice part. This is just a nice getaway trip, 5 days, 4 nights. All right, so as you can see, looking at the map, 2 nights in Amsterdam, 2 nights in Vienna. But here's the cool part, everyone. If you want to travel to any other great cities before Amsterdam, you can do that. If you want to travel to any other cities after Vienna, you can do that as well. You can actually add on to both of these cities before or after if you choose. And that's the beauty of independent style vacations. And this is when I want to talk about what is the difference between an independent style vacation, what we refer to in the travel industry as FIT, which stands for flexible independent travel, versus a traditional escorted bus tour, a traditional guided motor coach tour. Well, you see, certainly for those of you that have ever been on a guided bus tour, or if you haven't, typically the way they operate is from 6 to 8 in the morning, it's breakfast. From 8 to 12, it's sightseeing. From 12 to 2, it's lunch. From 2 to 5, it's more sightseeing. From 5 to 7, it's dinner. From 7 p.m. on, there's an evening activity, and that is almost every single day on a guided bus tour. And there are some clients that may like that type of regimented structure, morning, noon, and night, every single day of the tour. But what we find is most people, the majority, they like a blend of both. They want enough structure where either certain days you may have a locally guided tour for a few hours or a half a day or a full day. But guess what? On another day, you have a day at leisure. You can explore on your own the way you choose, where you want to go, when you want to go, how you want to travel. All right? We help you with all of those arrangements along with your travel advisor. And the last exciting destination I want to highlight here on exciting private sleeper trains in Europe as well as around the world is right here with our friendly neighbors in Canada, Canadian Rockies and Lake Louise Explorer. Now, this trip starts in the great city of Vancouver, home of the 1988 Winter Olympics. Just an awesome destination. Here we have the Capilano Suspension Bridge going right through the beautiful forest in Vancouver. And before you know it, you travel on board Via Rail. Now, Via Rail, folks, is the national train of Canada, just like Amtrak is here in the United States. You can sit back, relax. But what I'm going to show you right now is the most popular category of any of the categories, and that is bedrooms. Now, bedrooms, we have bedrooms for one, for any single or solo travelers, and we have bedrooms for two. Inside the bedrooms, you have your own private toilet and vanity. Down the hall, we have what we call private yet shared showers. And the only people that can use those showers are only people that have upgraded to any bedrooms. Let me show you the most upscale premium category. This is prestige class. There's only about 6 of these available on every train. This is the most shoulder-to-shoulder experience with a Rocky Mountaineer. So for any of you that are excited to go on a Rocky Mountaineer, well, guess what? That's included in this trip as well as on board with Via Rail. And here's your overnight experience. By the way, a prestige class, you have your own private butler. All your meals are included, just like they are in bedrooms for one or bedrooms for two. All right. And by the way, the meals reflect the region that you're traveling through out in Canada. So if you're traveling through the prairies, you'll have more choices such as lamb. If you're traveling out to the great city of Vancouver, it's more of a seafood flair. And I'll mention you even have your own private lounge car. How cool is that? Now, this trip also includes the great city of Jasper. And let me mention, too, again, and I know I talked about this earlier, you get to choose between 3, 4, up to 5-star hotels. Now, if I can give a suggestion, not only in Jasper, do you possibly want to consider upgrading to the Jasper Park Lodge, but right here in Lake Louise? How about the Chateau Lake Louise? These are 5-star, 5-diamond hotels. Absolutely worth being in those locations. Look at this beautiful aqua color water. And let's not forget about Banff, where we also have the Banff Springs Hotel. These are what are called, or they're part of the Fairmont properties. Anytime you hear the word Fairmont, you just know, boom, it's a 5-star, 5-diamond hotel. And you get to stay there if you choose. All right. This trip itself also includes Calgary. Just an awesome trip. All right. Just an awesome experience. And again, if any of you do want to also include Rocky Mountaineer, well, guess what? We can also book a Rocky Mountaineer. Now, Rocky Mountaineer is during the day, just so you know. There are no overnight trains on board Rocky Mountaineer, but that, of course, is a 5-diamond train. And if you do upgrade to Prestige Class while on board Via Rail, then that gives you a 5-diamond experience from start to finish. Folks, we have plenty of digital brochures, not only featuring these exciting overnight private sleeper trains throughout Europe as well as Canada, but all of our worldwide train packages. So certainly feel free to take a look at these today. Again, your local travel advisor can help you. So if you are excited, as I hope you are, to plan your trip of a lifetime, then folks, either pick up that phone or pick up that phone to call your travel advisor. All right. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can certainly view any of these exciting packages that I highlighted on our website, as well as any other trips that we highlight. But I know I mentioned it throughout today's presentation. I'm going to mention it one more time. The best way to book is always through your local travel advisor, because not only can he or she put together any of these packages for you, they can also book your flights, putting it all together just for you and your friends and family. Folks, on behalf of Railbookers and our sister brand, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, and we look forward to having you, your friends, and family on board soon. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.